Yes, you should overtake the government, even through war, because these people are being persecuted.
You're right.
But I cannot equate that then to an organized mission that took place, right? And then sending people, Jewish people from all over Europe, with ships coming into the country, taking people out of their houses, giving them citizenship, and then controlling the country. This is a very different situation. Like if the Jewish people came, I'll tell you this: if the Jewish people came and they took over the government of Palestine. Listen carefully, yeah? They took over the government of in their houses.
Okay with that?
I would not complain and say to you, you're doing X, Y, and Z. Do you get the point?
I understand.
Do you get so this is a different point of view now.
No Palestinian should have been kicked out of the house. Any Palestinian that ever got kicked out and that got mistreated fairly, I condemn.
Excellent. What you're saying now is what I'm saying. Do you get the point?
Right.
What you're saying now is what we're looking for. Is what we're looking for. We're looking for honesty, for people who are coming from the perspective of being empathetic, looking at these people, looking at their situations. So I'm saying to you, when you get some people crazy in the park, right? Or abusive, or maybe very emotional, they're not using their minds as much as they should be using their minds. And I'm saying that as a Muslim, yeah, I'm saying to them, they should use their minds more, yeah? Because what they're doing is not helping what we're doing. You get the point?
Just makes more tension.
Absolutely. So what we're trying to say is, we should have this kind of discussions and dialogues to come to this understanding that, look,
Who is corrupt, that is the bigger picture, and see that as people, we got on very well.
absolutely, absolutely.
The bigger picture,
And to see,
who's making the problems.
Absolutely.
It's the government's making the problems.
100%.
And why should me and that little boy down there have an issue?
Absolutely.
When we've been living
when you're probably living here, and you're probably even living here, what have you done in Palestine for anyone to do anything to you, you know? So it's not a smart thing to do. That's what I'm trying to say, yeah? But in the same time, we understand where the source of the issue is coming.
Exactly.
Because the source of the issue, we have to be honest, both of us.
Now the problem is, until many Muslims can see, and Jews as well, but I say many Muslims because I've experienced it from Muslims, and maybe you've experienced it from Jews.
I have.
Understand that.
Yeah.
But until many Muslims can see who is the one making this problem, and they believe it's us always making this problem. And until that, there will never be peace, because they're the ones separating the peace. And you know what? Those Muslims that don't want that peace, that come into this park, that give me problems, are as bad as the bad Zionists you claim, and as bad as the bad Palestinians, because they're all against peace.
Sure, but now here...
Say that, yes or no?
No, here I would need to say something different, yeah? Here I would say, looking at the history, when you look at the history, there are certain facts about history which would tell you who started the issue or where the issue comes from, right? And that is outside now of being extremist or not being extremist. So if we're looking at the history, we have to be fair. Right. The problem started with the Zionist people started coming into the country. This issue was not there before. There was Jewish people, 3%, they were living in the country, and the Palestinian government allowed these people to come. And the Jewish people started to come.
Was there a Palestinian government at that time?
Sorry?
Was there a Palestinian government at that time?
Depends on what you mean by Palestinian government.
Exactly, that's a whole debate.
So,
that's a whole
no,
debate
but
in itself,
but the point is, it was a Muslim government, correct? So,
so I'm not so knowledgeable, but
it was a Muslim, of course, it was a Muslim. It was a Muslim government, yes. Either you call it Palestinian or not, that's a different story. The point is this.
That's different, right?
Yes, the point is this. The government was there. They allowed. They allowed.
By the Ottomans that controlled the.
By the way, so we don't go to the soup. Separate discussions. If you can go, two of you have a discussion there. We already have a discussion. Yes. So coming back to what we're saying, look, we are saying
I didn't feel like you were here for me in the last debate.
If you're deceiving him, I'm here.
No, it's okay. Do you think he? My brother. Thank you. No, but I'm talking to him. That's why.
That's why. No,
it's okay.
He doesn't know me.
It's okay.
I said if you're listening from.
I'm talking to him. Don't worry. Don't worry.
But this is why I can't debate with people like you, because of
We're not
people like
debating.
you.
We're discussing, man. I don't come to debate. You know, I come to have a discussion. Yeah.
This is why I can't be around people like them, because I'm trying to have a. Like,
No, but look. Do you see what I'm saying? What I was trying to say to you?
Why is he blaming
My brother, just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Look, the point is this, right? We're talking about bringing peace.
Right.
Sometimes we have to understand.
This guy's accusing me of deceiving you.
Absolutely.
If I deceive you.
No, he said if. It's a hypothetical situation. You have to be fair.
Why would I be deceiving?
No. That's what I said to him, and then he took it back. He retracted the statement. He said I can handle myself. Is that correct? The brother is fair. He retracted his statement.
Why would I be deceiving?
But I don't want.
Like a very Jewish
What's your name?
Yaqub.
Yaqub. Listen, Yaqub.
Sounds like a very big stereotype of Jews deceiving other people.
Yaqub, I don't want to move Yaqub from our discussion into what he said and what I said or my friend said. Do you get the point? We want to stick on what we're saying.
Okay.
Now we're saying in the country there was 3% Jewish people. There were Jewish people allowed.
3%.
3% in 1970. I'm talking 1970. Prior to
I believe it
1970.
was more than that, but I can't tell you the figures out of my head.
Can you give me stats for more than that?
I can't tell you out of my head from that, but
Sure.
I believe
So-
from what I've learned it was more. But I understand.
It was not more than that. And then the government allowed the Jewish people when they started coming because they didn't understand that there was a specific plan for everyone to come from all around Europe.
Muslims got kicked out. I'm very sorry about that.
Sure, but what I'm trying to say to you is the following. We understand where the source of the problem comes from.
Right.
Once we do, then everything is okay. I'm not trying here to blame you as an individual, as I said to you from the beginning, but we're saying this was the source of the problem, and we need to realize that in order for us to find solutions.
At that moment,
You get the point?
Was many Jews got kicked out of Libya, for example. Many Jews got kicked out of many countries.
Let's say there was some Jews who get kicked out of Libya. Let's accept this scenario. Let's accept this scenario. I'm giving you the case.
Go on.
Let's accept the scenario. Does that justify for them? Thank you. You didn't even say finish as you said no, but okay. It doesn't justify for them to leave and go take someone else's land. I'm talking about Palestine now as an isolated case. Do you get the point? Palestine as an isolated case and what happened there. We understand where was the source of the issue happened. And looking at throughout history, Muslims protected the Jews for many generations.
And many times it wasn't
They
so
are-
good. You're right. Majority was very good.
No, but
From the
looking at Yemen, Jewish people are still living there. Haredi Jews are in Yemen. Looking at Morocco, do you know I've seen?
Very few
do you know?
Jews, nothing like it was back in the days of
No.
Morocco.
I'll tell you something.
There's a lot, and there's
I'll tell you something. A Jewish person. Tell you something. A Jewish person told me. A Jewish person told me this. He said, I went to Morocco. I was a young boy, and he said I met a Jewish woman there. He's Jewish. He met a Jewish woman. He said she was crying. Do you know why she was crying? The last king of Morocco died. She was crying because a Muslim king died. Do you know why? Because she said how he used to treat the Jews in that country.
Right.
So we have to also be fair. Maimonides being the physician of the Sultan. I can go on and on and on. There are many examples of that. So, if you look at Islam as a religion is not telling you to abuse the Jews. Do you agree with that? Islam as a religion.
I'd like to take your word from that, but I know there's many.
No, if you don't, you can
ISIS,
tell me.
For example, and everyone perceives something.
But I'm
different
saying
ways.
Islam as a religion, not individuals. Now let's separate the individual. I'm saying as a religion.
Don't they see it as their
What about the
interpretation?
hadith that says, "Oh, faithful Muslim behind."
Okay,
faithful
please
Muslim
stop him.
behind this.
No, I don't need to talk to him. He can talk to himself. I'm talking to this person
You
here.
say that,
Isn't
but
the
you have
Quran or the
them
Hadith
yourself.
the way you interpret it? For example, ISIS interpret it in a very extreme
Can I ask you this question?
way.
A Muslim today interpreting the Quran or the Prophet of Islam who brought the religion, which one is the better representative?
Say that again, sorry.
The Prophet of Islam who brought the religion can represent Islam more, or a Muslim today?
The Prophet.
Okay, so let's talk about the Prophet. Before you tell me someone misrepresent or doesn't misrepresent, look at the Prophet and look at his companions. The Prophet did not do anything to the Jewish people. The Prophet lived with the Jewish people in Medina. There was a harmonizing
space. I
space.
can't debate you.
No problem.
Maybe
Are you knowledgeable in your own scripture?
Not so much. No, really not.
So what can we do?
When he
Okay.
entered Mecca, Medina,
Look,
the
so
Prophet killed the
if we
Jewish
want to talk
community
about,
there. He's talking about.
He was like the prime minister, even though
I told him Maimonides, yeah. So this is the point what we're trying to say. Islam as a religion, if you look at Muslim history, you look at the first caliphates of Islam who were the closest people to the Prophet. You look at the Prophet himself. No, I'm saying the Prophet. Sorry.
Jews were very close to the Prophet. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm saying the life was in harmony. There was no abuse of Jewish people, etc., etc. Why? Because Islam as a religion does not teach you to do that. If you have some crazy people going harming innocent people, then this is opposite to what Islam teaches.
Can't you argue that's the way you interpret the Quran or the Hadith?
No,
Why not?
because the Quran is a very unique scripture. Unlike other scriptures, the Quran has clear verses within it that does not allow interpretation. Right? The Quran says in chapter 3, verse 7, "Minhu ayatun muhkamat." From it are verses which are foundational, clear. Some of these verses, for example, you can read in the Quran, chapter 60, verse 8. Sorry?
How do ISIS and other extremist religions?
Have you seen what they do to justify? I'll give you Osama bin Laden, for example. Osama bin Laden, for example, which is a very extreme example. What did he say when he was interviewed? He was asked that why do you kill innocent people when your own religion tells you not to do it? Do you know what he said? He said it's common sense. They came to my country, they killed my people, so I'm killing their people. He didn't say, look, Allah says, the Prophet Muhammad said, the companion said. No, he justified it using common sense. You've got ISIS, for example. What is ISIS? What does ISIS stand for?
You tell me.
Come on, bro. You're telling me ISIS, you need to know something about them, you know? Islamic State Iraq. What happened in Iraq?
To the Jews?
No, to the Muslims.
They got slaughtered by ISIS.
Okay, so slaughtered by ISIS. What happened in Iraq in the past, before ISIS? You know ISIS is very new.
Right.
Why is ISIS new? Because there is a reason for that. My question is, they are a state in Iraq. What happened in Iraq as a country? What happened to Iraq as a country when it was under Muslim rule? The British and the American came there. They claim that there is weapons of mass destruction. Millions of people protested in this country against what happened. Okay, so when you go destroy a country, plead all its resources, then leave its people to die, when they make an extreme group and they fight you because of that, that religion has nothing to do with that. Okay? So we need to look at the history, what happened, why is ISIS a new thing? If Islam taught these things, you will find these groups from the beginning of Islam, not in the end of Islam. Okay? Well, I mean end of Islam, I mean the recent days, yeah? Because Islam is not ending, yeah? Don't worry about that, yeah? So, we're saying in the recent days, these groups came because of colonization, because of their lands being... Yes. So these extreme people have nothing to do with Islam, have nothing to do with the religion. The Quran, multiple different places, chapter 60, verse 8, talks about living in harmony with the people. Chapter 2, verse 190. Chapter 2, verse 194. Chapter 5, verse 32. I can go on. You can go check the references in the video if you like, yeah?
How would the member of ISIS justify?
I just answered you what Osama bin Laden said. He said it's common sense. They came to kill my people, take my land. I'm going to kill the people. So they justify it by they kill me, I'm going to get a retribution.
On the religious perspective.
No.
On
revenge or a revenge basis. Sorry?
From a terrorist.
They are terrorists.
Right, yeah.
ISIS are terrorists. They maybe do something to me, but I don't care. They are terrorists.
So
we condemn them. We don't agree with them. What else do you want me to do?
They're not religious Muslims because
they're
not religious Muslims in that. They're not extremist Muslims.
Do you know, like for example, Muslims have specific people who are in high positions in a religious perspective. Like for example, you look at Sheikh al-Azhar. Sheikh al-Azhar in Egypt, we have Azhar University, which is one of the biggest Islamic universities in the Muslim world, right? What did the Sheikh al-Azhar say about ISIS people? He said they are Khawarij, they are people who are extremists. The same thing in Medina University. What did they say? They said these people are extremists. They're Khawarij. They don't represent our faith. So if we're looking at the people, you see that Muslims do not agree with that. And by the way, there's 2 billion Muslims in the world. Do you know that there is 2 billion Muslims in the world today?
2 billion, right.
2 billion. Do you know if 1% of them are extreme? If the Quran has any aspect to make you extreme, 1% at least will be extreme. You wouldn't be alive today. I wouldn't be alive today.
First of all, I don't want to judge you on your stats, and I'm not going to put out my stats like that. You know that?
No, you should if you make claims.
Right. But I heard there was more than that. But I don't.
More than what?
More than 1%.
Give me your stats.
Right. So I'm not prepared enough.
Then you don't make claims.
I understand that.
Don't make claims.
From my knowledge, the way I've been taught, not from a Jewish perspective, from just the way what I've seen.
Absolutely. Do you know what 1% is how many people?
Of 2 billion?
2 billion.
I'm not good at that.
Can you help him with math?
2 billion. Yeah. 1.2 billion.
What's happened? No one is good at math, brothers. What's going on here? Why is 1% of 2 billion?
20 million.
Come on. Yes, 20 million people. Are there 20 million terrorists today?
You tell me.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think you'd be alive if there's 20 million terrorists in the world today?
At least 20 would be here.
Yeah, that's like, do you know what 20 million people are?
How you define a terrorist, in my opinion.
No, you're making a claim that the Islam leads you to the mentality of ISIS. No.
I never said that.
Yes, you didn't say that. You said.
No. I'm asking, can you not interpret it?
That's what I'm saying. Yes, you're saying it's possible to interpret.
No, I'm not saying it's. I'm asking you, is it?
No, I'm saying your question is it possible to interpret the Quran?
I'm not making any claims.
Sure, no problem. Yeah. Is it possible to interpret the way ISIS does? And I said to you, no, because the Quran has foundational verses. And I said if this was not the case, you would have found more than 20 million people, because 1% is a very small number. You get the point? And in reality today, people know that there is not 20 million ISIS people around, or we wouldn't be alive. No one here would be alive probably. Right. Do you know that ISIS killed Muslims more than non-Muslims?
Right, I knew that, yeah.
Okay, so why do they kill Muslims more than non-Muslims? If they were following the Quran, which you're saying, there's nothing. Do you know? I'm answering you. No problem. I'm answering you. The Quran says, do you know the Quran? There is one of the most severe verses of the Quran. This most severe verse is talking about killing a believer. It is so severe. Yeah. وَمَنْ يَقْتُلْ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا, who kills a believer intentionally, فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ, his retribution is hellfire. Jahannam, Jahannam. Yeah. Yes, he will go to Jahannam. Yeah, hellfire. خالدا فيها. He will be there for a very, very long time. Yeah. وَلَعَنَهُ اللَّهُ, and Allah cursed him. وَغَضِبَ عَلَيْهِ, and He has angry with him. And He prepared for him a painful punishment. You see this verse? You will not see as severe verse in the Quran. So if they were reading the Quran, they're taking their creed from the Quran, the last thing they would do is to kill another believer. Okay? So these people are extremist group. They kill Muslims more than they kill non-Muslims. They don't represent Islam in any way, shape, or form. The Quran have lived in a coexistence with the Jews for many years. The Prophet did, the companions did, the people did afterwards, and it does not have anything that entices us to be like abusive to Jewish people, yeah, as a group and as a population. But as I said, understanding.
I don't know the Quran, but I take your word for it.
Read it.
Yeah.
I'll give you one. I'll give you a gift today. I'll give you one of the Qurans from outside. No problem.
Too many gifts,
Give it to read it. In fact, I can bring you a Hebrew Quran. I'll talk to you. Maybe you get your details. I have a Hebrew Quran. If you read Hebrew, I'll give you a Hebrew Quran as well. You can read in your own language. Yeah, no problem. Okay. It's good you see that. You saw.
Yeah, I saw advertised.
Yeah, no problem. So in the end, we want to conclude on a positive note. Yeah, understanding where the source of the problem coming from, trying our best to make a good kind of impression of the Muslim people and the Jewish people, trying to do on their behalf as well, condemning any bad things that are happening in their country, admitting the mistakes that took place throughout history. Right? That is what will help bring in coexistence.
It's about going forward and don't, as right as it is, that you have to see the previous, what took place previous. You also have to kind of forget that. And
absolutely.
And
not forget it, but try to work with it.
Exactly.
Because these things you cannot forget, you know.
Don't try to be victim, because Palestinians can be victims, Muslims can be victims, I can be a victim, and today you see in society, everyone's trying to be a victim. And it's like, no one's attacking because everyone's victims from everyone. I think people should stop pretending to be victims.
No, here I would disagree with you. You would agree with me the Palestinians, they were kicked from their houses, they were victims.
Right.
They're not pretending. Wait. Yeah. So they're not pretending to be victims. They are victims. So when there is a victim, we say he's a victim, right? So and in the same position, if there was extremist people hitting Jewish people, they were victims. You get the point. So you have to be fair. If you're a victim, you are a victim. Don't pretend to be a victim if you're not. I agree with that. Yeah, no problem, 100%. So I'm saying us having these kind of dialogues, understanding these kind of point of views, is what can maybe have a positive influence on the situation that is taking place. But as I said to you, the only thing that I believe will ever bring peace to the current situation is for the Jewish people who took the lands to leave the lands and give them back to their people. Other than that, I believe.
Where will those Jews go?
Sorry?
Where will those Jews go to?
I believe majority of them have ancestors in Europe. Majority of them.
How many?
And if wait, one second. But you will let me say one thing. Majority of them have ancestors in Europe. Number one. Number two, if I came to your house, and then all of a sudden you said, give me my house back, and I said, where would I go? I would say that's a you problem. It's not a me problem.
So what about?
So step by step, we have to be fair.
Yeah.
If you took my house, I don't have a responsibility to give you a house. Do you get the point? If you didn't have a house, I understand. Maybe you don't have a house. Maybe try to help you find the house. But that doesn't mean that justifies you taking my house. Yeah, okay. So what we're saying is the Jewish people have ancestors back in Europe. They are welcomed in many countries, like they were welcomed in Palestine. Do you know under the Muslim Empire, the Jews could travel all over the Muslim Empire. They were not stopped from traveling all over the Muslim Empire. You get the point? There was no Muslim Empire anymore. So I'm referring when there was the Ottoman Empire, there was a Muslim Empire, right? They were traveling all over the Muslim Empire. Today there are different states with different rules, it's a different situation. But there are many countries that allow Jewish people.
Like Dubai.
Sorry?
Dubai.
Like Dubai, you mentioned an example. There are many countries around the world that does. So these people can travel, can live there, because look, if you have money, right, you can live anywhere. Do you get the point? I was not born here, but I'm living here right now. Do you get the point? And anytime I can leave. If there is an issue here, I'm not going to say, oh no, please give me my house. I don't care about you, I'll go anywhere. You get the point?
Okay, I understand what you're saying with that. Now, you have to look at even before that. And before that, there were many Jews that were kicked out of the house. And I hope you'll agree with me on this, because if you don't...
Depending where and for what justification.
Iraq, I can give you Libya, I can give you many countries, I can bring out my phone.
So far, Iraq and Libya, there was a group of people who I would agree with.
So how are we going to get the Jews back their homes?
Sorry?
How are we going to get the Jews from Iraq and Libya their homes back?
They should also get. Look, what we're saying.
You're right.
No. Wait. Step by step. We're not here talking about the process of bringing them, because you're not in a position of power, nor am I in a position of power. We're talking here about recognizing. This is Christianity, so it seems like some Christians. I wouldn't say it's Christianity, but some Christians, unfortunately, in this part, you know. We are saying about admitting that this is the case, right? That this is a reality. People should get their houses back. The method of it, I'm not empowered, you're not empowered. Because so far we didn't talk about the method of Palestinian people getting the Palestinian people, how they get their lands as well. We're talking about admitting that it's an issue, how it takes place. This is the issue with the authorities. So we as people need to do our best to get the correct leaders, and those correct leaders are the ones who can implement the peace and do this kind of solution moving forward. Anyways, do you have anything else to say to me, ending in this positive note?
I think before that, and you can see you have to look where you are right now, we have to go and we have to look at it from the beginning problem. And I believe personally many Jews got kicked out of their homes and they had nowhere to go.
The people who came from Europe were not kicked out of their homes.
So at some points,
let's not
Libya,
misrepresent the history.
Libya.
These people, okay, let's say some Libyans. No. The people who moved from Libya, did not move because they were kicked out of their houses. Yeah.
They were kicked out.
No. I'm not saying they were not kicked out. You have to look at the time they were kicked out. We're talking about the movement.
1960s.
We're talking about the movements. 1960s. This is later on. We're talking about the movement that happened before. You're saying go back and then you go 1960s. You know. Look, we have to be realistic. Going back. Yes, going back is from before 1970 is the story. Story starts from there.
Jews in Iraq. What happened to them? They were kicked out.
Who said 100,000? Where is the stats? Where are you getting the stats from?
I read them up.
I don't agree with the stats. 100,000 Jewish people kicked out from Iraq.
Let me go to the side to find them up. Give me a second.
He left the camera now. You have to bring the stats now. What's going on? He's researching. Anyways, yeah. If you're going to take time, we will finish on a positive note, and that's it.
Your Allah is not mad. Your Allah is not mad. Muslims.
Let's take that. 1929 pogroms.
Okay, where's the source?
It's not a source. It's
So a picture on your phone that has a specific amount of views is a source. Come on, man.
it has a source to it.
You're smarter than to do that, you know. Sure.
I'm not backed up on sources here.
So next time we can be backed up on your sources. You know, I'm around here.
But at the end of the day, many Jews got kicked out. And what will you say about those Jews? That's my question.
I said to you, anyone who's unjustly kicked out of their house is opposing the Islamic commandments and teachings. Therefore, we condemn the action taking place.
Are we going to get the Jews their houses back? For example, if they were kicked out of any Arab country previously, are we going to get them back for them?
I believe if there is a Muslim state and they're ruling the countries, they should give anyone his house back if there is evidence that this person lost his house. Similarly,
what if the Jew doesn't want to go back to Iran, for example, or to Iraq? Or if the Jews want to go back?
Then they can go anywhere in the land, but they have to give the person his house back. They can go wherever they want to go, but give the person his house back and go wherever you want to go. Right? That's it. Let's finish on this positive note. It was nice talking to you, Yaqub, yeah?
Yeah.
Yaqub, yeah? Be like Yaqub, yeah? Yalla. Okay.
Do you know the scriptures? In the scripture, I read something from the land until the